First things first, new hair color. It took 6 hours, so you're gonna look at it. Okay, so today I have to film with the window open, so you're gonna hear cars probably. It gets too hot in this room and I'm babysitting the dog, and if the dog overheats, she starts coughing because she's got trachea issues, so I gotta have the window open. So anyway, today we're talking about The Toll by Neal Shusterman. This is a redo of what I said last week and I totally deleted from history. No one will ever see that. So first of all, I wanted to say that I like this book. I did like this book. I give it 3 stars. It was not amazing, but it kept my interest till the end and I wanted to know what happened. I know I have some things to say that will make it sound like I hated this book. I did not hate this book. Needless to say, many spoilers, many spoilers. Okay, so what I did like was that the Thunderhead actually in the end was a good thing. I was waiting this whole series for it to be like a, you know, reverse face. Oh my god, the Thunderhead's actually the villain here, because that's what always happens, let's be real. Not that I don't think it's made serious mistakes, because it made some serious mistakes, but I think that was more the author not thinking it through than actually being bad. So that was actually very refreshing. Another thing I liked was actually, weirdly enough, the bazillion point of view characters that just have like one chapter, one section of a chapter. So that's been an ongoing thing since the first book. And honestly, when I first encountered it, I was like, who cares about these people? But you learn so much about the world. Although, here's a bad point. We flipped around these other POVs so much in this book that first of all, Rowan got like no screen time whatsoever. He got like 2 chapters, and this book is huge, okay? He only got like 2 chapters. And Citra, she didn't get that much either. This time the book was split 4 ways. There were like 4 major characters. Actually, no, 5 major characters. 6? I think this might be a big complaint from some people, because we have Citra and Rowan, obviously, and then we got Greyson, who I consider like the 3 main biggies, the big characters. And then we've got a new one, Loriana. She gets a lot of screen time. Another new one, Jerry. And then we've got Faraday. I don't know why it took me so long. Faraday, the guy who's been here since the beginning. Yeah, Faraday. We got all these people. And then Goddard, the antagonist. So, and then Ayn Rand. Oh, jeez. 8. There's 8 major players. I may be forgetting more, but there's 8 major players in this book, so that could definitely turn people off. So we got these 8 people, plus a bazillion little small people. So if you're looking for your character to like have a good, strong presence in this book, you're not gonna get it. It doesn't matter who your character is, especially if your character is Rowan. He got screwed over in this book. It was like, Rowan who? He could have been dead this whole book and it wouldn't have changed anything. There is the theater massacre that wouldn't have happened without him, but that's it. Now for me, I didn't mind the POV hopping so much, mostly because it gave me less time to dwell on how much Citra and Rowan should not be together. Why are they together? I don't mean like it's wrong for them to be together. I mean, why? I don't know why they like each other. This is my complaint from the first book. Why do Citra and Rowan romantically like each other? I remember in the first book I was super surprised. That was a big truck. Super surprised that they revealed they wanted to kiss each other. I was like, it wasn't even like indifference. They were actively annoying each other. There was like 0, oh my god, oh she's pretty, oh he's hot, oh that was a funny thing he did, oh she's kind of cool when she does that. They had zero positive opinions of the other. And then all of a sudden it was like, do you want to kiss me? Yeah, I kind of want to. Like, what was that? Maybe that's an allosexual thing that I don't understand. But I feel like if it's gone to the degree that like they're willing to die for each other, they should like something about each other. What was it? What do they like about each other? The only thing that they have in common is that they were Faraday's apprentices and they had to kill each other. Rowan, after not being there the entire book, shows up at the end when Citra gets killed and grabs her body, gets onto the spaceships. They've been building spaceships. I should probably explain more. He gets onto this freaking spaceship, and on this spaceship, the computer's like, we can't revive her. We're not allowed to revive her until we get to the planet. And that's going to be 117 years from now. If you want to go down and die, you can be dead with her. But I would rather you be up here, like, managing things, because you're a leader. Really? Really? Where did this come from? Leadership? From Rowan? Kind of getting off topic, but the last line of the book is a freaking lie. The last line of this book is Rowan telling the dumbest lie ever to Citra. She knows they were going to another planet. She could see that it's a weird planet outside. Why did he lie? She's gonna find that out, like, in 5 minutes. Like, okay, so I got the Rowan Citra thing out of the way. POV out of the way. So there's another thing about the point of views that I did want to address that was also a complaint of mine from the beginning. I do like the multiple POVs we get, but I don't like when the point of view switches in the middle of a section with no breaks, no warnings. It's just like, oh, this is a different person now. That happens like at least once every book. I noticed that happened. I think it happened like twice in this one. It did not get caught in editing. Who let Neal Shusterman do that? That's my last complaint about POVs. Overall, I did like the many POVs, let's be clear. So the book starts off, from the last book obviously, where Citra and Rowan are down at the bottom of the ocean, and all the High Blades or Grand Slayers, I forgot their names, all the big dudes are dead. I hope the camera's in the same spot. It might not be. Anyway, it had been such a long time since I read the last book. I forgot that Greyson was a character. I totally forgot about poor Greyson. I don't know why I did. But I was reading Greyson's point of view, like, how did they get Rowan out of the sea? And where is Citra if Rowan's out of the sea? It was Greyson. Basically, we don't even see Citra and Rowan for like a while, like several chapters. Maybe like a third into the book, they still were at the bottom of the ocean. So they're in the ocean. Faraday is going off with his librarian to find the bunker that the old Scythes had. That's the least interesting part of the story, I have to admit. He goes off there. Thundercloud manages to send old Nimbus agents, and they're like building something without knowing what they're building, which, by the way, really added to the thing of me waiting for the Thunderhead to be evil. But no, I have mixed opinions about the blind devotion, God-worshipping devotion of the Thunderhead. And the Thunderhead is actually good. Following that logic, the blind devotion is also good. Like, it was a good thing that all of those people were just making all of this stuff just because the Thunderhead told them to. They didn't know what it was doing, where it was going, what it was going to be used for. They were just, we're making this, it must be good because the Thunderhead is good. And in the end, it was good because the Thunderhead is good. And I have mixed feelings on this. I feel like if it cared, like if it's supposed to be this parental role, which by the way it is, for like millions and millions of these abandoned children. Let me not get back on the overpopulation thing and the people just having children for fun, okay? It does raise children. So if it is this parental figure, shouldn't it raise children that can survive without it? Shouldn't that be a goal of the Thunderhead? It has not done that. It has not done that at all. You could say that the Thunderhead branding all of humanity as unsavory and refusing to speak to them could be like a step in that direction, but it's still doing everything for them. It's just not talking to them anymore. I don't know. I have reservations about that, but I think that's just the author. Also, as I said before, I kind of liked that the Thunderhead was actually a benevolent overlord because it was the first time I'd ever seen it. So, mixed feelings. Definitely mixed feelings. So, he went over to that islands, the Thunderhead's building things on the islands. What they end up building are spaceships to escape Earth, which makes sense. A Thunderhead knows there's like a not 0% chance that like Goddard will succeed, the Tonists will go nuts. So Thunderhead's like, okay, I'm gonna take these people, send them off into the stars, and hope that they can do something just in case humanity here is screwed. Makes sense. And over the course of the book, we have learned that the Scythes, specifically Goddard, has been sabotaging these attempts to build off-world to like expand humanity out so they don't have to kill as many people. And the reason was because they wouldn't have to kill as many people. From the very first book, I was like, the Scythe system is screwed, and you're supposed to think that. You are supposed to think that. So I'm not saying like I'm this magical genius that figured it out. No. You're supposed to know that it's screwed, and this book really highlights the depths of how screwed the system was. And the fact that the Thunderhead was not allowed to intervene in the Scythes at all makes it worse. Big mistake. Let's switch back over to Goddard. There was one part in the beginning where I was like, oh, this is actually kind of underhanded, but then it went off the deep end. The underhanded part was like, he was saying that, how did he phrase this? The Scythes no longer have killing quotas, gleaning quotas. They're allowed to not kill at all if they don't want to. And other Scythes will pick up the slack, which I thought was freaking genius, because that meant that the Scythes who wanted to kill everyone could kill as many people as they wanted. And I thought that was good phrasing on his part. It sounds like he's doing everyone a favor, but he's really screwing everyone over. Unfortunately, that is the last you see of that Goddard. But no, he's a very cookie-cutter villain, like actual man-child. Also, while we're on the topic of Goddard, we know that he has Tyger's body from the neck down, and there are some very strange comments made about this. Like, Goddard was encountering Rowan for the first time, and he had conflicting opinions about meeting Rowan again, and the book was like, oh, that's Tyger's memories surfacing, his joy of seeing his friend. It was like, Tyger's memories from the neck down? That's not how memories work, sir. Excuse me? There were several comments like that. I was like, what? Anyway, Faraday's story kind of culminates in finding what the Scythes had held secret for all these years, and turns out that there's like these diseases stuck in all the Scythe rings, like computer diseases, not real diseases, because real diseases don't affect anyone anymore. So computerized, simulated diseases in nanobot form. He activated some kind of device that like exploded all of them and sent them out like a little Thanos thing, literally. Thanos thing across the world. Now everyone on the planet is infected with these nanobots that will randomly, like a lottery, kill one out of every 20 people every 20 years. Which, by the way, is not enough people, according to the Thunderhead's calculations from the previous books. But we'll ignore that. So yeah, basically, that's how life is on Earth now. For 20 years, you're good, you're Gucci, you're living your life. And then, all of a sudden, it's Thanos time. Let's all huddle together and hope none of our friends and family die. I don't know if that's more or less horrific than the Scythe system. It's a trade-off, you know, you have the Scythe you could see coming, but they could come at you any time. Or the nanobots that will, like, give you a heart attack or a stroke or something. You know when it might happen, but you won't see it coming. I don't know which one of those is worse. And I'm at 48 minutes, so let me just get to my last part that I'm going to talk about here. Jericho. Talking about this person was like half the reason why I canned my previous talk about the toll last week, because I kept on saying they were non-binary, and then I was like, wait, no, they're not non-binary, they're gender fluid. And then, after looking on the internet, I was like, let me look up gender fluidity, because I'm going to talk about this. Let me just look it up again. And I found out that gender fluidity is underneath the non-binary umbrella, so apparently I was accidentally right, so I'm amazing. But no. The gender fluid person, I had complaints about this Not that they were gender fluid. That was cool. I had complaints about how it was in the story. Like, how it was put into the story. It felt very like, here's the story, let me get a freaking trowel and gouge out a hole here and stick this person right here. That's what it felt like. How do I explain this? I had no problems with the gender being dependent on whether the sky is cloudy or not. I've encountered real life gender fluid people who approach their gender in a similar way. Whatever. The issue is I didn't like how it was a thing. You know? It was mentioned over and over and over and over again. And every time a new character encountered Jericho or Jerry, it was like baby's first gender lesson all over again. It's like, we the reader have read this. Why are you doing this to me? First of all, baby's first gender lesson is gonna turn off people who already know what's going on, okay? And repeated baby's first gender lesson is gonna turn off everyone else. It just is. I think it should have been acknowledged, maybe readdressed one other time, just to make sure everyone was on board. Not like 7 different times, literally. And probably the most annoying part of it was, hey, this main character who's been with you since like the first page of the first book, who has never ever asked for anyone else's pronouns ever. This girl just magically knew to ask the pronouns of this specific one person, where everyone is part of this mono race and looks like they're from nowhere. They just knew they had to ask this person, excuse me? Why? Who? How? I have questions, sir. I have questions. Why? Why did she do this for this one specific person and only this person? Why? It's like, yes, let's make many people's first introduction to a gender fluid person as annoying as possible. Anyway, I have been talking for so long, my voice is starting to give out. 53 minutes, I've just been blabbing. I wonder how long it is a movie, isn't it? I wonder how long this video is going to be in the end. So, I'll leave this here before I die, and I'll see you next week. I'm actually reading Lindsay Ellis's book, Axioms, and I had heard previously that like she was really bad at writing politics. And that's true. That is true. She's also really bad at writing military, but it's still a good book. So we'll see how that turns out. If you saw my face change, I just remembered that I listened to the worst audiobook last night. It was so painful. Let's not talk about that. Okay. Actually, let's talk about that. Let me complain about that for 1 second. In this book, there's giant robots, like a giant robot that they're finding. And this woman, who has been looking her entire life for the pieces of this giant robot, finally finds the chest area. Like, it's like the torso of the robot. And the first thing she says about it was like, oh, nice tits. And it was at that moment that I knew a man had written the book. And I was right. That's all I'm saying about that. Anyway, see you next week. Later. I have some things to say that will make it sound like the opposite. Of course, my microphone was in the wrong spot. Like, the only connection between a Thunderhead and people, like, for like, talking. And it's a very millennial move here, isn't it?